Call to order the regular meeting of the Ashland Board of Commissioners for Thursday, April 27th, 2023. We will begin with the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Lord, as we come together for this noon meeting, we ask your Holy Spirit to preside over this chamber. We thank you for our city today and ask for your divine wisdom and guidance as this Board of Mayor and Commissioners strive to make the right decisions and in the best interest of the city and its citizens. Bless our city manager, our staff and employees, our guests, and all those in attendance today. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Stand and salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to receive and file the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hearings and reports. Commissioners, we'll start with Commissioner Goot.
I just want to welcome everybody today. We have a packed house. I want to welcome especially our Ashland Middle School History Project students and their sponsors, and we're looking forward to hearing from you today. This Monday, we welcome our long-awaited Olive Garden. You'll see me at all the ribbon cutting. Scott Martin knows this, especially if there's food involved. And so we look forward to the ribbon cutting down there, the opening of, I got a taste of it yesterday with the general manager and his wonderful staff. And a week from today is another great event in the city. We have our National Day of Prayer at the Ashland Transportation Center at 8 a.m. And this is a great event that's kind of been put on hold because of COVID the last couple of years. And the city partners with King's Daughters Medical Center to put this on. Today, our condolences go out to our mayor, who is at a funeral for a family member, and also Commissioner Spriggs, who has lost a family member. That's all I have.
Commissioner Spriggs.
Well, which one of you two want to talk about the CB Knuckles? We're going to be
ahead.
redundant
Go
on that. Well, we were all, I'll just say all of us, we were all able to attend the open house for our new CB Knuckles Black History Museum, and what a wonderful thing. I just want to compliment the visionaries, Bernice Henry and Daryl Smith, who put that together. It was a wonderful event, and it's wonderful that we have that in Ashland. And I know a lot of people went in making that happen. So I'm going to say how appreciative we are. It was my pleasure yesterday to go to Ashland Paul Blazer High School and present on behalf of Pogue Chapter Daughters of the American Revolution, and present the Army JROTC Outstanding Cadet Award to Cassidy Bear. I was really excited when I got there. I got a little bit there a little bit early, so I got to see them do some of their maneuvers and things, and it was very good. And we're always proud of our military and our JROTC, and they have participated in a lot of things in the city, flag retirement ceremonies, and all kinds of other things in our Vietnam Veterans Luncheon, and presenting colors. So we really appreciate them. Before our teachers speak today, I just wanted to say also Pogue Chapter is proud to announce that Carrie Harmon and Gretchen Coburn won the 2023 DAR American Legacy History Grant. And we're so proud, one of only two in Kentucky. So we're really proud to be well represented by them. And I also want to say that Teacher Appreciation Week is coming up. Depending on your school district, it's either May 1 through the 5th or the 8th through the 12th. And we have to be so appreciative of the teachers we have here when we see what's going on nationwide in other places, and we're really happy and thankful for the teachers that we have here teaching our children. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark.
Thank you. I'll keep it brief because I know we have a pretty lengthy agenda and a great program to get to from Ashland Middle School. Thanks, guys, for coming today. Brandy's here, and I know she's going to give a little better update than I am, but just because we want to repeat it over and over and over again. The first Friday is May the 5th, so put that on your calendar, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Alrighty, well, great to see everybody here today. Great to see a lot of young faces. Love seeing that. There are a couple things from me. There's an active shooter training this past week. I'm admittedly biased because my uncle Scott Hill gave that training, but he had a lot of help from, I know, our Chief Kelly and some of our officers as well, and everything that I've heard from that event was really good. So appreciate you all doing that. Boyd County Library is having reading trail event at Central Park on Saturday at 9 a.m. The trail will open for special needs children first, and then at 10 a.m. for the rest of the public in the gazebo area near the pond. So that's a great event. And lastly, unfortunately, we lost a great citizen, David E. Carter, this past week, and the mayor, as you said, couldn't be here, but he wanted us to pass along a mention of really just an amazing life. And I know we have some friends here today, and we just wanted to recognize him for all of his accomplishments through his life, and really just an amazing and accomplished citizen. So we will miss him. That's all I have. City Manager?
Thank you, Commissioner. Start off by, first off, I want to thank Susan, the city clerk. The administrative assistant's been out for me, so she's been doing double duty on getting the agendas ready, and hopefully it looks like a duck on the water, that everything just looks really smooth, but she's pedaling really hard. So Susan, publicly, thank you for all that work. A couple of things this week. We had the 30% design update with Strand for the wastewater treatment plant. Broadly speaking, everything is on track with that. We should have the 60% update in May or June. Is that correct, Mr. Cole?
That's correct.
And we'll have a further update for the board at that time. Also, I wanted to highlight something. The staff is always looking for ways to save dollars, save taxpayer dollars. We've talked about the CDL certifications in the past, and I'll give a more detailed update on that next week or at the next meeting. But something that the water distribution teams have done is they've become their own trainers instead of sending crews to the state level. And of course, if you don't send crews down to the state, you're not paying for a hotel, you're not paying for transportation, you're not paying for food. With the staff here, they can also, if there's an emergency, they can be called out. But the proof's in the pudding when you look at the statistics. So of the last 8 personnel that we sent to state for training for Class 1 and Class 2, 2 of the 8 passed. Of the last 12 that the staff has done themselves, for Class 2, 3, and 4, 11 of the 12 have passed.
Wow.
So kudos to Reed Downs and everybody that's associated with that. I always like the opportunities when our staff looks for ways to save money and be more efficient. So great job to the team. Next slide, please. And I always like to show these to you all. You see a lot of numbers on the agenda, and they're huge numbers, but what does it mean practically? Here, starting off with some before and after pictures of paving. This is on Belmont. Next. See this on 29th Street. Continued. 32nd Street, pretty dramatic difference
wow.
there. This is another effort that the Streets Department took on. If you'll notice on the left-hand side, this is water accumulation on the old Front Street. This existed for years. It was never really that big of a deal until we had the recycle point there. We had to keep that back gate closed. That was designed for traffic to go through, dump off, and then leave on the other side, and we couldn't do that because of the water. So the crews went out there, they put a drainage in, and now that problem's gone. So good effort by Mr. Hunter and his team. Also in the Streets Department, it's been a couple years since we've been able to, for a variety of different reasons, but getting back focused on the curb painting program, and here's just a before and after. And you'll see this throughout the city. It really pops when you go down the street and you see that fresh paint there. And I think that's the last slide.
City Manager, can I ask a quick question real fast? And it really doesn't have anything to do with us, but I need to make sure I ask this because it made me think. I know the state several years ago filled in cracks in all the roads with that black stuff. And in a lot of places, 13th Street particularly, they didn't come back and repaint the lines. And sometimes when it rains or
Yeah.
it's dark, you can't see the lines on 13th Street. Do we have any guidance about when they may paint those lines? Are they gonna
No.
paint lines?
I don't,
soon?
we can find that out for you, but I do know, we were in a meeting, Kiowa meeting yesterday, and 13th from Oakview to Winchester, correct me, Mr. Cole, you were in that meeting, is going to be paved this year. And 23rd Street, I forget the parameters of that. Where you at? Do you remember those?
That is my recollection also, yes, sir.
But we'll, indirect answer to your question, we'll find out when they're gonna be repainted, if so, or if they're
I
gonna
just,
wait till they're
I just
repaved.
happened to notice that, and then like going over the viaduct, on either side of the viaduct, you cannot see any of the lines.
I'm not here to defend the state. I know that the city does a lot of work that the state should be doing, grass cutting in areas. Street sweeps the viaduct because it wouldn't get done. Again,
Right.
I'm not criticizing them. They just don't have the capacity to
Right.
do it. So I don't know if it falls in that category, but we'll definitely find out.
Thank you.
And then I'd like to introduce Ms. Mays and Mr. Harmon for, I think, with the majority of the folks that are here today. Just to set this up as you all come up to do the presentation, that for everybody in the crowd to know, something the city's been looking at for the past 5 or 6 years is some type of walking tour throughout the city. And there's a lot of different things that we've talked about. We met with Jim Powers and E.B. Jevenen, both who very tragically have both passed away. But it's one of these programs that we want to get to, but it always goes to the back burner because there's always other crises that are going on. Ms. Mays approached us and visited AKY a couple of months ago about this very exciting thing that they're talking about today. And it just dovetails perfectly with something that the city has wanted to do, that the Visit AKY has wanted to do. And we see this going potentially in a lot of different ways. But the excitement that's brought by the middle school students and their, not cadre, their teachers, excuse me, is really exciting. So I'll turn it over to the middle school team.
Good afternoon, City Council members. We're a group of middle schoolers from Ashland, Kentucky, and we're here to present to you our project aimed at increasing the awareness of Ashland's rich history. This project, it includes 3D imagery, historical information, and engaging video to bring our city's history to life.
To develop this resource, we first took 3D pictures of various historical sites around Ashland. We then conducted extensive research to gather important historical facts and anecdotes about each site. With this information, we created informative videos that provide an engaging and comprehensive overview of each location's significance.
Once we had our 3D images and videos, we converted them into interactive experiences using cutting-edge technology. To make these experiences accessible to the public, we designed 3D printed QR codes that can be placed at each historical site.
By scanning these QR codes, visitors can access our interactive content to understand Ashland history. Also, our website will be linked to AKY City Tourism, and so it can be easily found by tourists and locals.
Our project has already gained traction. We've recently presented at the STLP State Championships, where we received a lot of attention and positive feedback. As we look to the future, we plan to turn our interactive maps into mapped out walking tours, add more historical images, and expand the number of sites we cover.
We are grateful for the support we have received from the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative, the Hall at the Highlands Museum, and the Visit AKY office throughout this project.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present our work. We are confident that our project will not only preserve Ashland's history, but also inspire a new appreciation for our city's past. Together, we can make Ashland's history more accessible and engaging for generations to come.
If you have a few minutes, we'd like to show you the KVEC video and the webpage we've made. You get us back on that slide, please. Thank you.
Here's Susan Boyle.
We were meeting as a department, talking about gaps in our students' knowledge, and we were planning to have some extra time for social studies in our master schedule the next year.
Thank you.
And we all thought that focusing on local history would be a really beneficial way to cover the inquiry standards and get our students invested in where they live.
Ashland actually was inspired by Carrie Harmon and Gretchen Coburn because they were talking about how they wanted to focus on economics and geography. At the time, I was working with a project with the National Council for History Education. I said, well, I could come in from the angle of I want to help your students develop inquiry and use primary and secondary sources to learn about their local history. And then you guys come in from the other side, bringing in the standards, but most importantly, bringing in those tasks and everything that students could do to really learn about their local history.
All right, so we're looking at that compelling question, how has geography impacted Ashland?
Teaching social studies 5 years ago was more teacher directed. We told them what we wanted them to know. Now students get to dig a little bit deeper, figure out what they want to know, and I learn from them because of the questions that they ask and the things that they want to know. Challenges me because I have to dig a little bit deeper too.
Coolest primary source is probably the pamphlet we look at called The Gateway to the East. It was basically about like where Ashland's at. I thought that was really cool because they used to hand those out to everyone, and I just had no idea that they did that. It was kind of cool to me.
I like using primary sources because it gives you a lot of information, and the information, like, you know, it's factual because they were actually there to experience.
I think, especially since I do ancient history, it's very difficult for sixth graders or any, I guess, kid to connect with that time period. And so if it's like from a place that they're from, it's a little bit easier for them to kind of like think back.
With the inquiry side of it, now I'm making them think deeper and bring those ideas into the classroom, where in most cases they kind of kept it to themselves. With this process, now it's coming to the forefront and it's guiding the lesson and it's getting the students to participate more.
Learning with inquiry helps me understand because it feels more hands-on. Because it helps me understand how I'm working and what I'm working with.
Ashland Public Schools. And there's public family school. And then
The design of this project, especially through the NCAG grant, had us bring in community partners because it's not just about what happens in the classroom, but it's about what the students do in the classroom and then connecting further to the community. In this case, we brought in the Highlands Museum there in Ashland because if you're going to look for a treasure trove of just almost unlimited primary and secondary sources, that's the place to go.
One of our primary goals is to be a center of information and history for our community, not just Ashland, the Irving tri-state area. And as I said, these are things that most of the time they're just in boxes and not being used. So it's so great to reach out and connect directly with local schools and to help them with this project. It's part of our mission.
Then they cut down the tree.
This project matters to me because I have deep roots down in South Ashland since the 1930s, and my whole family's like cut from here.
There's actually a really big dispute about between the Bogue family and another guy who both
posted, they claimed Ashland, but, I mean, lawyers found it out and it turned out that the Pogues originally claimed it.
I learned that the Pogue family actually founded Ashland, and it was gonna originally be called the Pogues Landing, but then they changed it to Ashland.
Now we have like this big celebration like every year for Peg's Landing, even though we're called Ashland now.
Originally, all of Ashland was like flattened because the whole entire city was just flattened to build it because they were making a port city.
So the students came up with this idea of creating a virtual reality tour where they're going to create these QR codes and place them around the city. So as people are walking through, tourists or even, locals, as they were going through, they can just get out their camera and scan the QR code and they can learn a little piece of history.
They were really excited, and we had a lot of students just like pick up, they're like, oh, this is so cool. And a few of them actually made the connection that we wanted them to make, that like, one student specifically said, this gives me hope. Like, this makes me see that we can get back on top, that we can work and we can make a difference and change and build Ashland back to like the height.
I'm extremely grateful to have been a part of this project. Ashland means a lot to me personally. It's my hometown. It's where I've grown up. And it's where I hope to spend the rest of my life. So it's wonderful to share it with others.
If we don't take the time to learn, and we don't take the time to listen to the stories, and we don't take the time to learn the history, in a few years it's going to be gone. And so I hope that they learn an appreciation for, one, the process and how you ask questions and how you dig a little bit deeper, but just for the world around them. So I hope that they gain that appreciation.
All right, so that was the video, and then we have the, I can find my mouse. We have the website, which is just, this will be linked to the QR code you have on you should have, and it'll be on the Ashland website. So you've just got kind of a little bit of a, like a welcome page. If my mouse will work. But we've got all the locations linked here, or you can just go straight to the 360 tour, visit all of them any way you'd like. But, come on. You go down here, this is just the 360 tour. You can just go and you look around, find what you like. You can move around to the different places. It's very easy to see. Yeah, this will be linked just about all the different places. They'll have the different QR codes that link them to different spots. And it's very easy to do. So it's very accessible. Anybody can scan the QR code as long as you have a phone. You can just look around, look around 360. Yeah. Pogue Landing? Very good. You can just go to you can go to Pogue's Landing. You can click here, that's some background information. Video, where it's at on Google Maps. Video will load, maybe. Huh? But yeah, it'll have the 360 tour right here. You gotta look around, look out at Pogue's Landing. See which, maybe you can see differently. You can do this from anywhere. It's not like maybe people who can't make it to Ashland today can look on our website and just see instead of having to come all the way here. It's a great website. We worked hard on it. We love it. I know we had a lot of support from our teachers, but I really like this project. It's a great project. So thank you for your time. Any questions you have, we can answer. It's a great project.
You'll be happy to know that pretty soon there'll be a Pogue's Landing sign down there. Very nice one.
That's a great example of citizens and our museum. I mean, this is the way it's supposed to work. And it's your citizens creators, we call them, working with our institutions like our museum, which is now becoming so engaged and doing such amazing things, and with the city. And I always say that the city does very important things, our staff does very important things every day, but it's up to the citizens a little bit too, to have some stake in it and make things happen. So I guess fantastic job. Thank you all so much for this. I guess my additional little bit of a challenge would be to look a little bit later once you go through school, get on into the high school, and keep this mindset. And because we need you, we need this innovation, we need these ideas. So thank you, the teachers, so much as well. We appreciate you.
Great job
That's great.
to you and your sponsors. Great job.
Okay, thank you all so much. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting if you don't like.
If you want to cut class, stick around.
Bye, guys, thank you.
I'm ready, Mayor.
Okay.
Good job.
Who's that little boy?
Now we're gonna have an echo.
I know. Tumbleweed blew through.
Yeah.
Those of you left in the audience, you can probably spread out now.
They like each other.
All right, I'd like to take a second real quick and just recognize one person, Peggy Mullins, so our new administrative assistant for the mayor, commissioners, and risk management. We just wanted to officially take some time and recognize you, and congratulations. All right, move to the part of the meeting for public participation. Anyone with a comment or request may come to the podium and address the commission concerning matters related to city business, services, or personnel. Comments related to election issues or concerning personal disputes will not be allowed. Personal attacks, obscene, or threatening language will not be tolerated. Presentations are limited to 5 minutes. A yellow light indicates 30 seconds remain, and a red light means the time limit has expired. Only one speaker is permitted per subject. No action will be taken at this meeting. Those with comments are asked to fill out an inquiry complaint form and leave it with the city clerk for distribution to the proper city department. Would anyone like to speak?
Hello.
Hello.
Giving an update today about tourism and what's going on in our office. Our film festival, that's going to be in October, we've received 27 submissions now. And what's even more exciting, we are international. We have one from Canada, one from France, one from Poland, and one from the United Kingdom.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
really
that's just
exciting.
amazing.
The video from Poland is in Polish, so we have to watch it and
Learn
read
Polish.
the subtitles. So, yeah, or learn Polish. Yeah, one or the other. We received some significant grant funding from the state, and we've commissioned some professional photographers to come and take some really good photography of all the assets, the tourism assets that we have. So that'll be happening soon. Then we'll move on to videography. So we'll have a really good library of content to use. I have a new brochures and a planning packet that we developed. I'll pass it around so you guys can see it. Amanda's already seen it, but just some new, stuff for visitors to see. And the EDC starts for First Friday. This is the cup that everybody will be using for the first Friday. Then as the other cups come in, we'll be using those, so you can see what that looks like.
All right.
And finally, I attended a meeting at the Shawnee State to learn more about our partnership with the Lawrence County Economic Development Cabinet from Lawrence County, Ohio. We're part of the ARC Power Grant. They got $1.5 million for the Appalachian Freedom Heritage Trail Initiative, and this will extend the Underground Railroad into our area to learn more about the stops. We'll be working with the National Park Service, and they hope to add 27 sites in the next 3 years. So it's really exciting.
Yeah.
That's it.
You always have exciting news. You're doing a great job.
try.
I
Is that
say,
film
yeah.
festival swag you're wearing as well?
Yes,
I love it.
is promoting.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, Cosmic Collar. So I'll just leave these up here. So you guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brandy.
Anyone else?
I'm going to talk about Memorial Day. On 25th, we'll be at Rose Hill putting flags out, thanks to the Russell ROTC. On the 26th, we'll be at the Veterans Cemetery. Anybody wants to come out and help, the more the merrier. And please bring a screwdriver or a drill because that ground is hard. And on Memorial Day, they'll have their Memorial Day service. I don't know who's speaking or anything like that, but I'm part of the service. Frank said that I'm part of the service. And on the 27th, we'll be at Golden Oaks. So if y'all got any questions, holler. So.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Anyone else like to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on to old business.
Old business item A, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, establishing the procedural regulations and prerequisite qualifications for hiring within the fire department and repealing ordinance number 174, series of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, amending Part 2, employment process and procedure for filling vacancies, appointing authority, the policies and procedures, compensation plan, and classification plan as adopted by ordinance number 51, series of 2017, as previously amended.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris, 2412 Roberts Drive, in the amount of $3,395 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Bobby's Mulch for the purchase of all labor, materials, equipment, and services for the demolition and removal of all debris of 313 1/2 Spring Street in the amount of $3,575 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Sitco Water for the purchase of liquid chlorine at a price of $240 per ton, and sulfur dioxide at a price of $1,135 per ton, and sand at a price of 20 cents per pound, and sodium hypochlorite at a price of $2.78 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with the Vonic Active Oxygen 2 Turner Place, Piscataway, New Jersey, for the purchase of parasitic acid at a price of 77 cents per pound for the Department of Utility Operations Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item G, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Carbon Activated Corporation, 2250 South Central Avenue, Compton, California, for the purchase of activated carbon at a price of $1.39 per pound for the Department of Utility Operations Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Polydyne Inc. for the purchase of liquid polymer for the wastewater treatment plant at a price of $15.14 per gallon, and for the wastewater treatment plant at a price of $14.228 per gallon, and polymer catatonic at a price of $2.41 per pound for the Department of Utility Operations Division of Water Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item I, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with S4 Water Sales and Service LLC for the purchase of liquid sodium permanganate at a price of $13.30 per gallon and potassium permanganate at a price of $3.50 per pound for the Department of Utility Operations Division of Wastewater Treatment and Water Production.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item J, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with USALCO LLC for the purchase of aluminum sulfate liquid at a price of $1.64 per gallon and polyaluminum chloride at a price of $2.7189 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Wastewater Production and Wastewater Treatment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item K, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract with Univar Solutions for the purchase of hydrofluorosilicic acid at a price of $3.25 per gallon and liquid caustic soda at a price of $1.5314 per gallon for the Department of Utilities Division of Wastewater Treatment and Water Production.
So moved.
Second. Second.
Oh, sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And you know what? We don't have to do this for another year, and I may or may not be here. Item L, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Ashland and Aaron Hutchinson regarding an encroachment for a freestanding sign and patio seating for Cargo House Pizza located at 2415 Carter Avenue on the city's right-of-way.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Where is this at?
I think it's beside where, you know, where Carter Avenue Liquor and the CrossFit Gym is down there on Carter Avenue.
Yes.
I think
Suplex
it's
was
right
there,
in the middle there.
isn't it? Yeah, where
Yeah, where
Suplex was.
Suplex was.
Cool.
Suplex's branch was. Suplex is still out on 13th Street.
But it's in the, where Suplex had moved to.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
It's there now.
It's not in the Carter Avenue beverage, it's not in the building where Suplex was. This is a vacant lot.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
It's gonna be made out of cargo containers, shipping containers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They've
All
already
right.
got the containers in place, so if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah, I
There's a
will.
grass lot there between the gym and the store.
Okay.
yeah.
Great, great.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Item M, second reading and final adoption of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky adopting by reference updated procurement regulations for the City of Ashland, Kentucky, April 2023, and repealing ordinance number 126, series of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, consent agenda, a resolution of the City of Ashland, Kentucky adopting, authorizing, and approving the course of action presented by the city manager on the items appearing on the consent agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of City Commissioners of April 27th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just make a note here, 3, 6, 8, 9, and 10, I believe, are all part of our ARPA funding spending. So I got a question this week asking about our ARPA funding, and it's always good to be able to say 100% of our ARPA funds went to infrastructure, so
Right.
that's nice to see. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
New business, item A, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Ashland and Mueller Electric LLC for the purchase and installation of a generator at Station Number 2 in the amount of $36,750 for the Ashland Fire Department.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item B, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, amending ordinance number 31, series of 2023, which adopted a classification and compensation plan for the City of Ashland, Kentucky, proposed and recommended by Baker Tilly LLP Consultants.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item C, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Ashland and Bluegrass Recreation Sales and Installation LLC for the purchase, preparation, installation of playground equipment and surface at East Central Park in the amount of $167,451.30 for the Department of Community and Economic Development.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Where was?
Or sorry,
wait a
go
minute.
ahead.
Where just about is this going?
It's Railroad Avenue. It's a replacement for the one that's there now.
The one that's a replacement? Okay. I want to kudos to the Parks Department. Those inclusive playgrounds are a hit. And one is going up at, right now at the dog park, behind the dog park at Wendell Banks. Another one's going down at Dawson Pool. Go by and look at those. Those are all inclusive and they're really good. That's all I got.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Commonwealth of Kentucky Transportation Cabinet and the City of Ashland, Kentucky, outlining the approved federal funding through the Federal Highway Administration for the Winchester Avenue Streetscape project that extends from the 7th Street to 21st Street."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item E, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky, accepting from Steak and Shake of Ashland, Inc. right-of-way over the southwest corner of Steak and Shake property situated on the northeast side of Armco Road as right-of-way for official ownership and maintenance responsibility."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item F, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky, closing Bath Avenue between 23rd and 24th Street and an unnamed alley running parallel to Bath Avenue and Central Avenue from 23rd Street to 24th Street in the City of Ashland, Kentucky."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in
Uh,
favor? Sorry, go
I
ahead.
assume this is King's Daughters?
King's Daughters.
Construction? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Yes, this is similar, we did a similar closure last year, and after they finished their surveying, the property owned by the church kind of made them have to shift the building a little bit, necessitating them to close.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, this is King's Daughters, expansion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item G, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to the City of Ashland, Kentucky, amending the zoning map of the official zoning ordinance of the City of Ashland, number 101, series of 1986, as previously amended, by changing the zoning classification of property located at 751 Hunt Street and surrounding vacant 8 acres, and 803 Hunt Street, 810 and 814 Hunt Street, and 813 Hunt Street, and 823 Hunt Street from R6 single-family residential medium density to R5 multi-single-family residential medium density.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item H, first reading and approval of an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Ashland and Midwest Tank Management, LLC, for the DeBoard Hill Tank Mixing System in the amount of $347,450 for the Department of Engineering."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item I, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing the Ashland Fire Department to submit an application for the Kentucky Homeland Security Grant in the amount of $120,000, and if awarded, authorizing and directing the mayor to execute any and all other documents related to said grant."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment, another great grant submission by the Ashland Fire Department.
Yes.
City has no match in this one, should it be awarded, so great job. Thank you.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item J, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled, "Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding between Ramey Estep Homes Rate Group and the City of Ashland Fire and Police Departments to provide services to those who have experienced acute stress or trauma as a result of the opioid epidemic."
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Does this mean, people you arrest, right?
No,
Or people in our departments?
it's for,
People in our departments,
Okay.
firefighters, give us an avenue to turn to, in case we're suffering from traumatic stress.
and it's not an exclusive relationship.
There's no requirement that it be utilized. This allows them, it's my understanding, to apply for a grant, and they will make these services available to the police and fire if they choose to use them, but there's no requirement that we
Okay, so
use
this is
them for
not
the
part of
service.
this wasn't a proposal for the 400,000 or any of that?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's just worded strangely, experience acute stress or trauma as a result of the opioid epidemic.
They're competing for funds, Ramey ESTEP is, and they want to provide this service to various agencies. Think PTSD, I'll broadly just say that, especially for first responders. And that's how they're competing for the funds. And again, it's not exclusive that we use Ramey ESTEP, we still have other services that
sure.
we have through KDMC also.
Mike,
Okay.
Mike,
Use your
Mike, your
microphone.
mic.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Item K, reading and adoption of a municipal order entitled Municipal Order of the City of Ashland, Kentucky authorizing and directing the mayor to submit a loan application in the amount of $44 million to the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority for the 2022 Clean Water State Revolving Fund application for the sewer treatment plant expansion project.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Then the mayor requests the consent of the commission to a series of reappointments. First, the mayor requests the board's concurrence on his reappointment of Bruce Davis to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 4-year term retroactive to 2/14/23 and expiring on 2/14/27.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item M, the mayor requests the board's concurrence in the reappointment of Don Maxwell to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 4-year term retroactive to 2/28/22 and expiring on 2/28/26.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item N, the mayor requests the board's concurrence on the reappointment of Susan Fleming to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for a 4-year term retroactive to 2/28/23 and expiring on 2/28/27.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Item O, the mayor requests the board's concurrence on his appointment of Amanda Clark to the Ashland Housing Authority Board as his designee for a term retroactive to 2/14/23 and expiring on 2/14/27.
Yeah, I think.
So moved.
Second. You gonna vote for yourself?
Any discussion, but I think I do have to,
Does
I'll
Josh
need
need
to
to
vote,
vote for
right?
this?
He what?
I'll
Does
need to
Josh need to
vote,
vote?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Item P, the mayor requests the board's concurrence on his reappointment of Yvonne Kubison to the Code to the Code Enforcement Board for a 3-year term retroactive to March 1/23 and expiring on March 1/26.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I guess, if
If
not,
there's any other new business?
any other new business, can I
Meet
get a
in the
motion
morning?
to?
Meet in the morning.
Are we gonna, do we need to meet? We do, okay.
We will recess till tomorrow,
9.
9 o'clock.
Okay, so can I get a motion to recess until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning?
So moved.
I have a question. I guess we won't adjourn until tomorrow.
Correct.
So would it be appropriate today or tomorrow to ask that we adjourn in honor
In
of
honor
David
of
Carter?
David Carter.
What do you, how do, I don't know. how
Technically,
to
the
handle it.
adjournment's tomorrow, but I think you can
Can I-
ask to recess in honor
Yeah.
of right now.
I would
Okay,
like to do
so,
that, please.
Can I get a motion to recess in honor of David Carter?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We're recessed.
Did you want to?
I'll just be real brief. Everybody knows of all the awards Dave won over the years, his success as a media person. A lot of people don't understand he was known not just nationally, but internationally. And he could have very easily done that in Madison Avenue in New York, where all the other advertising agencies. But he didn't. He did it on Carter Avenue in Ashland, Kentucky. And I think that's important for people to understand, especially the young people that were here today. Jan Layton, a famous actor out of New York, he brought him here to do commercials and everything. When Jan Layton passed away, in his obituary in the New York Times, it talked about him going to a little town in Ashland, Kentucky to do commercials. Stan Freberg, a famous person out of LA that was TV producer, he brought him here to Ashland, Kentucky to speak to ag groups and things like that. He brought so many, Whitey Ford, one of the greatest guys ever wear the pinstripes, play for the New York Yankees. He brought him to Ashland, Kentucky. He was very proud of Ashland, Kentucky and Flatwoods, where he grew up. And so I think in his last few years here, what he did was he gave back to his community with the film about baseball here in Ashland through CP1, with the film about Blazer. And I think in those years, he spent so much time working on those. I think we also ought to thank Diane, his wife, his daughter Lauren, Krista, and Emily for them giving him to us in these latter years for these last films.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Don.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Who else? He didn't identify.